Welcome back. In this tutorial, which is going to be rather long and probably broken into two parts, we're going to look at creating a data-driven animation, primarily working within Adobe Animate CC, but using a data file to give access to some information. So what I want to show you first is here in Chrome, I have an animation open. So this is what we're going to build is a web photo carousel. And you see that it has images in it. It has a title at the top. We've got buttons to go in either direction, so I can click on those and control which direction they go in. Okay, so there's a total of 5 images in here. So there's my 5th, and then back to the beginning again. So that's what we're going to go about building. Now, to do it, I've given you some files. And so here I've put them in my working folder. I've given you a carousel code text file. We'll be referencing that in a few minutes. So the various JavaScript that we need. We have an images folder down here that has the 5 images. So I've already taken these in and cropped them to the shape and size that I want to use them at. And the data folder here has a JSON file in it called carousel.json. So this file, this one has the data that we're going to need. Let's go pull that up real quick right here. So you see that I have 5 of them. So I have the title. The first title is AC Waters, and it's file reference. So image01.jpg and so forth. So there's my 2nd, my 3rd, my 4th, my 5th. So this is the data file that feeds into our animation. None of the images are actually put into the animation itself. It's all referencing here, so it gets the information here, and then of course my images reside out here in the images folder, and that's where it pulls them from. So we are using a JSON file here, which is JavaScript object notation. So a lightweight data interchange format based on a subset of the JavaScript programming language. Basically, it's a text format that is language independent, and it's very similar to a number of programming languages, C, C++, Java, JavaScript, and it makes it both easy for people to read and for computers to utilize the information that is there. So it's organization for a JSON object. It's an unordered list of name value pairs. So we get the curly brackets that we see in our coding quite a bit. We get a name, a colon, and its value, and then they're just separated by commas. Okay, so if you want more information, you can go to json.org and find more information about it there. But that's the data file format that we're going to be using, and here's our example of the data we're going to use. We are going to use Adobe Animate to build this in, and then we will use JavaScript for the programming. Now, and we're going to do this as an HTML5 project. So in these projects, we are already using Create.js libraries that coming from Animate. I do think we want to use jQuery as well to help us parse our data. So we need to go take a look at that. So let's see, first off, let's jump over into Animate. I'm already running it here. I'm using Adobe Animate CC 2015.2. So I want to go create a new HTML5 canvas. So I'm going to click on that and start it up here. And I'm going to work with a stage size of 700 by 250. Those are the dimensions that you saw there on our screen before. So that's the size that I want to work with. That's the size that my images are already cropped down to. Now, to work with jQuery, you know that we can work with JavaScript. That's no issue there. But to utilize jQuery, I actually need to load the jQuery library. And that is not loaded by default here. So we need to go set things up for that. So to do it, while I'm in my file, and actually, you know what, let's go save our file real quick. probably be a good idea. Carousel, let's put it, you know what, I'm just going to put it on my desktop for the moment. Carousel. Save it right there. Okay, so I've got that saved. Now, once I have my file saved, I want to go over to my Publish settings over here in Properties and click on Publish Settings. And if you remember, when you go to Advanced, this is where you have access to the template that Animate uses when it exports its HTML. Now, ours just has a default template here right now. We came across this when we were using GreenSock, so to be able to access their libraries. So we want to go modify this so that we have access to jQuery. So what I would do is I would click on the export window here and go export the template out of here so we can modify it. So what I have already done, let's see, here is my website. Let me go find the folder I'm working in. I'm working in Project 4 Demo. So I've already done this, but I want to show it to you. So I did an export earlier, and here I named it exported template.html. Okay, so that is the one that I exported earlier. And then I have a template underscore jQuery that we're going to use. So let's cancel out of here for just a second. I'm going to hide this. And in the files that you downloaded, there are also these files here. Okay, so exported template HTML is the one that I already exported. I am going to grab this and open it up in Text Wrangler. So here is just the basic default template that it uses as it exports. So a lot of information in here. It has JavaScript tokens in here, the different bits of code that it needs to export properly. What we need to do is we need to add the call in so that it can access the library for jQuery. And so if I look, you can find right down here on line 41, that's the end of the head section right there. So you can find the whole head section in the document. There's the end of the head section, and they give us a line directly above that, line 40, where it says write your code here. So if I want to add something into the head, that's a good location for me to put it. So I did go ahead and do that. Let's go grab the template jQuery file. Open that one up. And you will see in this one, there's only one line of code that is modified, line 40. I put the script tag in there, and I'm accessing the CDN for jQuery. So I can load it from the CDN. So that's the only difference I have made to it. So I want to use this file. So I'm going to close it. Let's jump back over to Animate. I'm still in the Publish settings. Okay, over here in Properties, you can go back to Publish settings if you closed it, on the Advanced tag, and now I want to import new. And fortunately, mine defaulted to where it is. So that's the one I exported. I want the one named template jQuery. Again, that's a file that I've supplied you with if you want to go grab that one. So let's get template jQuery and say open. Okay, that was easy enough. You can see it's listed up here now. Only other thing I want to check, let's see, I've got my JavaScript options there. Those are good. Sprite sheets are turned on. I'm going to go into one PNG. I'm fine with that. If I go back to basic, responsive is not turned on right now. That's okay. I might want to go back and do one later with responsiveness. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Okay. So this is all set. So I am going to go ahead and say OK, and I might as well do a save again. So now when I export this, it will have access to jQuery. So about the first half of our work, since we're just really getting started, and the rest of this video tutorial is going to be setting up for the project. In other words, creating our layers, creating the space that we are going to put the images in, put the titles in, and so forth. So we need all of that. So that's what the rest of this video is going to be. So to start setting up my project, I need to create layers for all of my artwork to go on. So look down in your timeline down here. You can see that I have just a single layer right now. let's see, I need 4 total layers. So down in the very left-hand corner, you find the icon to give myself new layers. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 more. And then let's rename them. My top one is going to be actions. So that's where my JavaScript goes. My second layer down is title. My third layer down is controls. So that's where we'll build the different shapes that control it. And my bottom layer is going to be container. So that's where the images will go. We're going to build a container for the images to go and animate within. Okay, so that will go there. So let's get the layers in our timeline built. Actions, top to bottom. Actions, title, controls, and container. And I'll do another quick save. Okay, now I'm going to come over here to the right. There's my properties panel. Let's go to the library panel. So the next thing I want to do is I want to actually go create the symbol for the container, for the carousel container. So instead of creating it on the stage first, I'm actually going to go over to the library, and I have nothing in my library right now. So I'm going to go down to the very bottom, and again I find the icon that looks like the turn page, and you see it says new symbol, and I am going to click on that to start creating a new symbol, even though it's not on my stage yet. And I am going to name this Carousel Container. Now, be careful how you spell things here, because we're going to be making reference to various names within JavaScript. And so we need to be very intentional. So if you want to follow all of the same code that I'm using, make sure that you're spelling the same way I am. So Carousel Container with 2 capital C's in here. Okay. We're going to leave this as a movie clip. Okay, so make sure that is set on movie. And then I'm going to go ahead and say OK. And you notice that when I create a new symbol that way, that Animate actually puts me within the symbol. You see in the upper left-hand corner up here where it says Carousel Container now. So I'm now editing that container. So once I'm in it, let's go down to Timeline, and I need some layers to work with here. So let's see, in here I need 3 layers. I have 1, so let's create 2 more. Again, my top one is going to be actions. Okay, so my JavaScript will go there. My second one down will be labels. And my third one is going to be content. Okay, so again, I'm editing the carousel container symbol, and I've created layers. 3 of them, top to bottom: actions, labels, and content. Okay, so now I want to start with my content layer. I'm on my content layer right here, and I need to start creating the area where the images are actually going to go in here. So to do that, making sure I'm on my content layer, I'm going to come over and get my rectangle tool. Okay, find the rectangle tool over here. I need to go to the properties panel. Now first, I want to come here where it says Object Drawing Mode, and I want to change that to Object Drawing Mode On. Okay, turn that on, and that's going to create a drawing object, not a simple shape. Okay, so I want a drawing object. It'll help me with my editing. So then I want to come up here to my fill and my stroke. I want to make sure that my stroke is none, which mine already is, but you may need to set this to none. And then on my fill, I want to come over here, and frankly my fill can be any color. Right now mine's blue, and you know what, blue works for me. I was thinking about going black or gray, but hey, let's stick with blue. That's fine. So I'm going to leave my fill color with blue, no stroke, and then I'm going to come out here and just start to draw a rectangle. Now frankly, I'm not going to worry about its placement or its size that much, because we can go modify that. Okay, so once I've drawn it there, I'm going to come up and grab my selection arrow. Call it the selection tool up there. Then I can come down and I can select this rectangle that I've just drawn. And now in the properties panel under position and size, you can see its positioning and its size. So I want to change the X to 0 and the Y to 0. Okay, let's get that set there. And then I'm going to match my width and my height to the size of my stage. So my width is 700 and my height is 250. Okay, now mine worked out well because you see right here, they're not linked to each other, okay? So if you made this 700 and then you change this to 250 and it modified your 700, then come over here and click on this so that your icon looks like this. You don't want the ratio there to be linked together, okay? So make sure it's 700 by 250. Okay, so now I have this rectangle sitting out here and I have it placed where I want it. So now this rectangle needs to be a symbol, okay? So I'm going to click on it. Let's right click on it and I want to convert to symbol. So go down to the very bottom and do a convert to symbol on this one. Again, I want to make sure it's a movie clip. Okay, so that was my default there. And I'm going to name this one image container. Okay, so image container. And again, making sure that I did a capital I and a capital C on that one. Okay, again, just for consistency's sake. So name it image container, no spaces, capital I, capital C. So this is where my animated content is going to go in here. So I'm going to click on that and say, OK. And now I've got that one all set up in there. So now we can start looking at our transitions. So we could transition these any way we would like. I'm just going to modify the X position on them. In other words, we're going to do a sliding transition. So you'll slide back and forth. You saw that on the preview. So that's what I'm going to go with on this one. So we need, let's see, we're still working within Carousel Container, the symbol right here. And now we need some frames. So looking down at my timeline down here, I'm going to go out here to frame 45, find frame 45, and I'm going to drag down across all three layers like that. So I've selected frame 45 across the actions, labels, and content layers. And now, with those selected, I can right-click, and I can go say Insert Frame, just like that. Okay? So now I have some time in my timeline to work with, so up to 45. Okay, and now we're going to use labels in our timeline. So that's why we have a labels layer here. So we've not used labels in this class yet, but what labels are going to do, they're going to allow us to jump to specific transitions within our animation. In other words, our animation isn't going to be just linear. As you saw in the preview, we can click and move back and forth in it. So we're not just doing a linear animation that goes from one point to another and then is done or repeats. So to get started, make sure you're on the labels layer, and I want to go click on frame 1. Okay, so frame 1 of the layers label. Then I'm coming up to the properties panel. Notice it says label up here and it says name. So where that name is right there, I'm going to name this transition center. Transition, and then I'm going to cap the C in center. So it's camel case. Lowercase t, capital C, no spaces. So transition center. Next, I want to go down to frame 15. So there's frame 15, again on the labels layer. I need to right click on that frame, and I need to insert a blank keyframe. Okay, so now I have a blank keyframe at 15, and you may have guessed I need to go back up to properties and give it a name. So I'm going to click on this, and we're going to call this one transition left. So transition, and then capital L, left, no spaces, only the L being capital. Okay, and you can see down here in the timeline how it's putting the labels on them, so I can make reference to them. Okay, last one I need to do, I need to come down and get frame 30 in my labels layer. Again, I am going to right click on that. I'm going to insert a blank keyframe there. And one more time up to properties and give it a label name, and this one is transition right. Transition, capital R, right, no spaces. So now down here you can see we have a transition center, transition left, transition right. So now I can actually target those points within the timeline. And I'm going to, those labels are names I'm going to use in JavaScript. That's why we were very careful about our naming on that. Okay, so now let's create some instances. I have this symbol that I'm working in, and I need some instances of image container. Okay, so remember, instances are copies of a symbol. Okay, and I need to have a center, a left, and a right image. So the idea is when you view it, when we start, we'll be looking at the center image. And if I click my left arrow, then I view the one there. If I click the right arrow, I view the one there. So I'm going to have multiple images here that are sliding. Those are my tweens that I get. So I'm going to click on my current instance, okay, the blue box that I have here right now. Clicked right here and there. And again, up in the Properties panel, you see now I can ask for an instance name. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to name this center image. So lowercase center, capital I, image, no spaces. Center image. Next, I'm going to go to the library. Slide this so I can see it a little bit. I'm going to go to the library here, and I'm going to grab the image container that we're working with right there, and I'm going to drag it out here, and I am going to put it to the left of where we are. So I'm going to drag this one over here, and now I want to bring it down here and align it right there. So it kind of dropped right into place right there. And then with it selected, I'm going to go back to properties, and I'm going to name this one left image. So lowercase left, capital I, image, no spaces. Okay, so now I have a center image and a left image. I need one more. I'm going to scoot this back over just a hair. Back over to library. Grab my image container, drag it out here. And again, get this one drug into place till it aligns. And this last one is, go to properties and name this one right image. Okay. So if I center, here is my center image in the middle. Here's my left image on the left. Here's my right image on the right. All of them having instance names. So the last step I want to do at this point with these is I want to select all three of these. So I could click and drag like that and select them, or I could do a Command A, select all. I'm going to grab all of these because notice they're all on my content layer right now. And I kind of like these to be on their own individual layers. So with them selected, I'm going to right click on them, and I'm going to come down here to where it says distribute to layers. So when I click distribute to layers, what it does is it takes each of these instances here, puts them on their own layer, and names the layer with the instance name. So see, when I click on the left one, I'm on a layer called left image, center is on the center image layer, and right is on the right image layer. Okay, good, easy way to get them on their own layers. So now that I've distributed them across these three, I'm going to go grab my content layer and delete it. I don't need it anymore. And then I'm actually going to reorder these. I'm going to move left to the top, center to be second, and the right one to the right. Okay, so left, then center, then right. So left is on top. Okay, so just get them organized there in a good order for me to work with. Okay, let's see. Next, I should save. I haven't saved in a little bit. Do a quick Command S there. Okay, so now we were working on our transitions. We've got our instances there to work with, but now we need to work on the animation so that they can actually move. So I want to create a starting point for transition left and transition right. So let's go select frame 15. So here's frame 15. And I want to select it on all 3 image layers. So right there. Okay, see that's 15. And I selected it on left image, center image, and right image layers. So click on all of those, or select all of those on frame 15. Then I want to right click, get my mouse in the right spot, right click, and I want to insert a keyframe right there. Okay, not a blank keyframe, but a keyframe. A regular keyframe, not a blank keyframe. Okay, so that is now on 15. Now I want to do the same thing. I want to go over to 30. There's 30. I'm going to select all 3 of these lower layers on frame 30. Okay, and I'm going to insert a keyframe there as well. So another right click and insert keyframe. Okay, so those will be kind of our starting points for those 2 different transitions. Now, I want to put some motion tweens in place. So I could do these individually layer by layer, but I can actually do them all at once. So if I click in the middle, underneath the transition left of the left image, if I click right there and drag over into transition right and then down across all 3 layers, okay, see how I did that? Now I can right click and select create motion tween. And it's actually going to give me 3 motion tweens, okay, it's because it put it on all 3 layers there. Okay, that created all 3 of them. I'm going to do a quick save. Okay, hopefully you've caught up. The advantage of the video is you can pause and go back. Now we're going to go to frame 29 on all 3. So I'm going to go right here. Okay, see where we are right there? I'm going to do a select all, Command A, to make sure I have all 3 of these instances up here. And I'm going to drag these containers to the right. In other words, this one's in the middle right now. I want the left one to end up in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to click over here and start dragging until there's my left edge, and there's where it aligned. And because it's a motion tween, see the little marks right here? That's the marks that are used for the tween, so you can see its movement. Okay, now I want to go over and do the same type of thing. I want to go to frame 45, drag down across all 3 of those layers. Again, select all, make sure I have all of those. And I want to grab all of these and drag them to the left. So in other words, the center one's in the center. Now I want to get this right one into the center position. Okay, so I'm going to grab right here, click, and start dragging. Wanting to see the edge, there comes the edge, and right there, kind of snaps into the right spot. Okay, so at that point, everything is moved all the way over to the left. So now these are actually ready to be populated with images. I can also scrub through here, so you can kind of see them moving. Being the same color, it's a little bit hard to see them, but you can see the movement there at the end of them. So, okay, so that's how those are moving. So once again, I better go save. Okay, so I am done in my carousel container, at least for now. I want to go back out to the stage, so I'm going to go click on scene 1, and I'm back out here on the stage. Okay, let's go create our controls. So I'm going to go down to the controls layer, and we can start working here. So you saw the buttons that we had there, so they look like arrows within circles. So the first thing I want to do is create my circle. So I'm going to go grab my oval tool over here. Grab it. Let's go look at my fill and stroke. Okay, now my object drawing mode is still on. That's good. I still have a stroke of none. That's good. And so I'm going to go over here to my fill, and I'm going to use black, but I want my alpha to be about 50. Okay, so set it to black and then set it to 50, and then I hit return there to accept that. Okay, so get that set up, and then I can come out here and start to draw a circle. So, oops, see there's an oval, but I want a circle. So there's my circle, and that guess is 50% black. Let's go look at that. It's, well, let me double check it. I'll draw another one just to see. Yep, that's right. Okay. It didn't look right at first. It looked a little bit light, but okay. I don't need that second one. I'll get rid of that. Okay, sorry. Just wanted to check real quick. Okay, so I have that there. Now, if I go select it, I can come back over here to position and size again, and I am going to lock it this time. And I want this to be 60 pixels. So I hit 54. I'm going to do 60. No, not 0. 60. And tab. And so now it's 60 by 60 because I have this locked right here. Okay, so I have a 60 pixel circle. Now I want to create a white triangle that goes on top of it. We could approach this a number of different ways. Let me show you how I'm going to approach it. I'm going to grab my rectangle tool. Again, check object drawing mode on. Good. No stroke. I'm going to go up here to the fill, and I want it to be white. And I think I want to do about 80% opacity. So let's set that to 80. Okay, 80% white. Now, I can't see this. Let's go. Oh, actually, I could work on top of this maybe. Let's draw it right there. Okay, there's my rectangle. Now, once I do that, I'm going to come up here. So there's my selection tool that I often use. I'm going to grab the arrow right below it. I tend to call this direct selection tool, just based on other Adobe products I use. They call it the sub-selection tool. So I'm going to grab that. This is the tool that allows me to come and grab points on these. Okay, so I can grab individual points. I'm going to come to this rectangle, and you can see I can grab the upper right-hand point. And I'm going to do a delete. Okay, now it's a triangle. And then I'm going to grab this lower point down here, and I'm going to drag up and turn this thing into a triangle, or into an arrow. Let's get this kind of, see if I can shape this a little bit better. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there. Okay, so now I have my circle, and I have my triangle. I can go back and get my selection tool. I'm going to grab the two of those. I'm going to come up here and find my Align panel. I'm going to set it to Align to Stage, and I'm going to center this both horizontally and vertically. Okay. Now, that's pretty good. Visually, it's not right. I'm going to click on that triangle, and I'm just going to use my arrow tools and bump it over. That looks about right to me. Okay, that's better. So there is one of my controls, or at least the shapes that I need for my control. I actually need these to work as a symbol. So I'm going to drag around both of those. Make sure I select both of them at the same time. I'm going to right click on them, and I'm going to say convert to symbol. And this time we're going to make it be a button. Let's make it a button. And my name is going to be direction control. So I did capital D and capital C. Okay, so direction control. Make sure you set it as a button and say OK. Now, I want to modify this so that I have some mouse over effect on it. So because it's a symbol, I can double click it and edit. So you see up here, now I'm in direction control. There it is. And because it's a button, you see that my timeline looks completely different. So I have up, over, down, and hit. And what I want to do is I want to modify the alpha on them. So to get set up, I want to click on over, and I want to create a keyframe here. So right click and say insert keyframe, and then go down and right click and say insert keyframe. So basically that gives me copies or instances of them there. Okay, so it's on all three. No difference is shown between them right now. And let's go modify the alpha of the black background. Okay, so again, I'm going to go up, get my sub selection tool, because with that I can click in the background. Okay, so up, I want to leave that alone. Over, I want to modify that color. Make sure I get this selected right. Oh, sorry, there it is. Fill and stroke was closed for some reason. Okay, so with that selected on over, come up here, it's at 50. Let's make it 75. Okay, so it gets a little bit darker as you mouse over it. I'm going to hit return, and then I'm going to go to down, click on the background again, and I'm going to make it be 100. So it's completely black at that point, and return. So now, if I move between up, over, and down, you can see the changes in it. Okay, so those are my changes there. So with that fix, I'm going to click back to scene 1, back out here on my stage. I'm going to go back and get my selection tool and select this symbol right here. Okay, there's my symbol. And I need to give it an instance name. So back up to properties. And let's call this direction right. So lowercase direction, capital R right, no spaces. Okay. And once I give that a name, I'm going to drag it over here and find its position. So you see the snap to. That snap to is vertically centered. I'm going to go just a little bit lower than center because I'm going to have a title up here later. Okay. So find your position right there. Now I'm going to hold down the Option key. Oops, don't twist. Hold down the Option key, click on this, and I'm going to drag a copy over here because an Option drag copies. And so I'm going to put it on the opposite side over here. Okay. And then with that one selected, I can come up here and change its name to direction left. Okay. So this one's direction right. You can check the names. And this one is direction left. And of course, they're both pointing right. So I need to fix the left one. Probably the easiest way is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to find my transform panel. And if you look in the lower left-hand corner, you see right here, I think it's going to call it flip it horizontally. I often call it flop. I'm going to click on that and you see how it switched it there for me. Okay. So now I have both of my buttons all set up. So with that, I'm going to lock that layer so I don't have to worry about it, and I'm going to go do a save. Okay, got it all set. So let's go back to our container layer. This is where our images are going to be working down here. So I am going to go back to the library. Let's find the carousel container, okay? Because remember, we created this symbol, but we haven't put it out on the stage yet. So I'm going to grab carousel container and just drag it out here, okay? And I need to get this positioned in the right spot here. So a couple approaches we could do. One is if I come down to the timeline, look at the far right. You see that little blue triangle right there? If I click on that, it turns it into outline mode. So now you can see the edges, and I can drag it and try and get it aligned. The other thing I can do is, whether it's in outline mode or not, but actually outline will help me see it. I'm going to make sure that's selected. I'm going to come up here again to my align panel, make sure it's aligned to stage. And again, if I center it horizontally and vertically, I'm now aligning it to the stage, so that gets it in the right spot. So that actually is a very easy way of doing it. Okay, let's see, the one last thing, I want to make sure I have that selected, go back to properties, and this needs an instance name. So I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to name this carousel container, but I'm going to use camel case this time. So lowercase carousel, and then capital C for container. Okay, so carousel container is its instance name up there. Okay. I'm going to go lock that layer, so I don't have to worry about it, and we're going on to title next. So I'm going to click to the title layer and do another save. Okay, on my title layer, we're getting closer, by the way, so a lot of building here. On my title layer, I want to put a rectangle up at the top to put my titles in, okay? So I'm going to go back over, get my rectangle tool again. Okay, still in drawing mode, still no stroke, that's great. My fill, It's 100% black. I think I want to go like 80% black. Let's try that. Okay, so 80% black, and I'm going to come up here and draw a rectangle at the top of it. So again, I can get it kind of close, and then if I go grab my selection tool, make sure I have it selected, I can go check my position and size. Now I see that I was just a hair off on my positioning, and my size is a hair off, so I'm going to do 700 wide. And this is locked, so I'm going to unlock that. And let's go 30 tall. I got a little big there. Okay. So X and Y are both set to 0, width at 700, height at 30. And I've got that positioned where I want it. And once again, this needs to be a symbol. So let's right-click, say Convert to Symbol. And I'm going to name this Title Container. Okay, so capital T, capital C, Title Container, and this one actually needs to be a movie clip. Okay, so make sure you set that to movie clip. And I'm going to say OK. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to come back to Properties again, and this is now an instance, and so I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to name the instance Title Container, but camel case this time. So all lowercase title, and then capital C container. Okay, get that one all named. Okay, let's edit this one. So I'm going to come up and double click on it. You can see up here that I'm editing now. So now within this symbol I need 2 layers. So I can come down to my timeline, create a second layer, and my top one is going to be title. And my bottom one is my background. I'm just going to say BG for background. Okay. Okay, on my title layer now, I need to put some text here. So let's go get the text tool over here. There we go, it's being a little bit slow. And I need to go make sure it's set to dynamic text. So see, mine's defaulted to static. So go change it to dynamic text because we're going to be adding text in here, making it changeable. So do that and then go find a font. So you can go custom font here if you want. I'm actually going to go, I was just playing with Helvetica Neue earlier, so I'm going to slide up there. Helvetica Neue, and I was just using medium weight. Okay, and I was using 22 points for my size. I could go white, but I think I'm just going to go really light gray. So light gray, and then I want it centered, so I might as well set that up right now as well. Okay, so get all my type specs in place there. And now I can go draw a text box. So I'm just going to eyeball this guy. Oops, that's way high, but I can move it. Okay, let's get a text box in here. I'm going to click in it. Just put some dots in there as a placeholder. I'm going to go get my selection tool. And I'm going to just, oops, I think I deselected it. There we go. Use my arrow tools and slide this thing down into place. Right about there looks good. Okay. Bump that guy up. Okay, so now I have a text box there, and I need to give this an instance name as well. So with it selected, I come up to Properties, and I am going to name this Title, all lowercase. Okay. Now, at this point, I can go back out to scene 1. Let's do a save. And let's see, I think I have all of my pieces in place, and I am ready to start doing my coding. So we have looked at the JSON file, we know what's in it, we've seen the images out there, it's going to pull from those. We can start putting our actions or JavaScript in place. So I'm going to make sure I have saved, and then we're going to break and start another movie right about this point.